Hey everybody, it's your friend James Shaw. Thanks so much for joining us. And we're doing what we always do, which is talk to elite people doing elite things. And today is no different. Angie Petersen is with us. Angie, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, thank you for joining us. You're going to help people with what's honestly a struggle for a lot of agents out there. Solo agents staying on track, staying focused, implementing systems to help them get results. It's as a solo agent, you do everything all the time, and yet staying on track and using simple systems to keep you on track can be a challenge. You have some you're going to share with us today. Inspire members, you'll actually get copies of the systems that she talks about today. So make sure you go get them. If you're not an Inspire member, you can join at inspire.jamesdshaw.com. And if you are an Inspire member, you can log in to inspire.jamesdshaw.com and download all the tools that Angie talks about with us today. But I'm excited, and thank you for doing that. I'm excited that you'll share. Tell us a little bit about you and who you are and about your business and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, well, thanks again for having me. This is always an honor, and I feel I'm one of the many elite people that feels humbled that I can even be up to the caliber to be interviewed. So I have been from Little Falls, Minnesota, which is a town of, we just passed 9,000 people. So I'm born and raised here, graduated here, went to school briefly for architecture and realized I didn't want a big city job. I wanted to do big city things, but stay in my small hometown. And so I've been selling here since 2006, so about 19 years. And for the last probably 6 years, I've consistently sold between 80, my highest was 124 transactions. I have a solo agent and I have a marketing assistant and a great office that does fill in for showings if we need to work out the showing agent part of things. And I'm blessed with 4 beautiful children, ages 13 down to 5 with my high school sweetheart. So life is good.
You're a superwoman. You got kids and a family, and you're doing 80 to 120 units a year in a town of 9,000 people as a solo agent. Folks, we're going to learn something really, really good today, and I'm excited about it. I think that many solo agents struggle to stay on track and be purposeful at a couple of deals a month. You're way north of that. So talk to us about what are some of the challenges about being a solo agent that you've had to then solve for.
Time is the number one. So especially since I'm highly active in the community and our kids are all involved in too many activities, time is the biggest thing. So what I've committed to is every day coming into the office and treating this job like I went to school for business. I did continue to go to school for a business degree. So treating this like it's my career as I'm an executive CEO of my own business has been key. And coming into the office daily, unless it's a snow day or a sick day, consistently and doing the lead generation, keeping my email managed, just doing all the things that need to get done. And when I reach a point where I'm getting the overwhelm, then just like Josie's class, and you find a way to leverage or you find a new system to lower that pressure. So that's key and I make sure I'm done by 3 p.m. so I can do either evening appointments or activities with my children. And I try to only work 1 day a weekend.
This is great. Now, there are people that are going to go, how? So let's be clear. You're a solo agent, yet you do have a little bit of help. You've got some marketing help and some transaction help. Can you tell us a little bit about what that, these are not full-time people that are under your wing and you don't have a bunch of salespeople, but you do have some leverage that's pretty easy for others to implement too. So I want to be transparent. Tell them a little bit about the leverage that you have.
Yes. So I have someone, once I get a file under contract, I just email the 5-6 documents that need to get uploaded to command, uploaded, and get that through commission compliance. So that saves me about 45 minutes per file at most in the beginning. And then once the file is done, I have someone that closes it out another 30, 45 minutes. So I'm just paying someone $50 to start the file into command and $50 to essentially close it out. And there might be a small little projects that they do here and there, but that is my transaction management help. And then I do pay someone a 1099 company that does my marketing. So essentially my marketing calendar, which many of you will see, it has pop buys, it has my events, it has all the social media kind of themes of the year and the posts that we're doing. to make sure that those get implemented, I send my marketing calendar off in the beginning of the year, and they make sure, first of all, that it matches me and my brand. So we do have a chat monthly to make sure that the posts are going to be true to me, because I really want people to think it's me that's doing the marketing and posting and all the material. And really just making sure all the behind the scenes to the events are taken care of for the logistics. The pop buys are purchased and assembled. So all I have to do is physically drop them off to the people.
That's great. So you've got a company to do that for you. So I want to unpack some of these systems, and then I've got lots of follow-up questions for you. But you talked about your marketing calendar as a key piece, but you really have what, 3 or 4 core systems that you've put in place and created that help you stay on track. Can you tell us what those are, and then we'll chunk them down. And then again, Inspire members, we're going to give you access to this stuff, our marketing calendar and some of the other things, so you can go implement that in your world. But first, Angie, just tell us a little bit about what some of those key systems are that you put in place.
Sure. So as mentioned, my marketing calendar is basically what I need to do on a big scale, and then it's chunked down to a per month basis. And we only look at it quarterly, because if you don't want to look too far ahead, other than a couple event dates that you have to post or save. And so they have what my method is for that month of communication. So when I'm doing my DT, D2, I know what am I asking them to do a CMA, if I'm asking them about what their summer vacation plans are, whatever the method of conversation is, in case it doesn't happen naturally. Most of the time, because I've been doing it consistently, now it does come extra natural and just the conversations happen. But just in case there's the people that aren't as high up on the conversation starter, it doesn't come as easy, then I do have that note. Like I mentioned, the events are in there, the pop buys. I do try to do some community events. I have 4 quarterly. So every quarter is a hero event, and that's kind of like a reverse bold and a lead generation. It's probably my only lead generation outside of just communicating with my sphere and my community. And then I have on there, and you'll see it, time off or the activities that are going on for the month, because that's just as important, as well as the educational events and training things I want to go to.
This calendar sounds intense, but it also probably sounds like it keeps you on track.
Exactly. And I think the biggest part is starting where you're at. So I know I'm a little bit of a high achiever, and I like to move fast. And I was always the person in school that finished their test the first, and I still am that way in the continuing education. So putting a lot of things on there and checking the boxes, that's what gives me the most joy. Same with my other systems.
And we have access to that system plus the other ones we're going to talk about, again, at inspire.jamesdshaw.com. So Inspire Collective members, just log in and you can download it. And if you're not a member, you can get info on how to join there. All right. So that's the calendar. I love that, because a lot of people tend to be, very random in their approach when it comes to what they're going to do from a marketing standpoint, a social media standpoint, an event standpoint, and a pop buy standpoint. And so then they get random results like, oh, we should probably do a summer event. What should we do? Yours is mapped out in advance. And quite frankly, they could just take your calendar and run that if they wanted to.
Right.
Yep.
Yep, they sure could. And I think the biggest thing is when you are planning it, if there's something that is on my calendar that is not true to you, obviously don't do it. And vice versa. If you're really passionate about pets, well, maybe instead of doing the gingerbread decorating one event, you do photos with your pet and Santa. So you can do other things and squeeze them in, as long as it's true to who you are and who you're, marketing to and prospecting to.
That's great advice. I love that. Okay, so that's that's a lead gen spreadsheet, effectively, is what that is. This marketing calendar is your lead gen play. You do it in advance. Now you know what to do for the year for your pop buys, your events, and your social posts and all your different things. That's your lead gen piece. Well,
Right.
that's clearly working, because you're doing 70, 80, 90, 120 deals a year as a solo agent. So next thing, you need really good systems to deliver. When people hire you and want to work with you, you need systems in place to do that. And that's where you've come up with this master spreadsheet. Tell us about that.
Right. So it's pretty simple, but really simple is easy, and that's what you're going to use. So when I have a weekend where I'm writing contracts, getting things under contract, Monday morning, I make sure I put everything in the spreadsheet. So I want to know, which ones did I get under contract? Sadly, which ones did canceled? Which ones move forward? And so it just has two sections. It has the pendings and then eventually closed on that same top of the spreadsheet. And then I have my listings as well. And so what that does is it's a one snapshot of my numbers and where am I at. So when we talk about the 15th protocol, what I do is I keep my spreadsheets printed out on my desk, and every midday of the month, we look at where my numbers are at this year compared to last year, and also kind of where it's trending for month to month. So up in Minnesota, we have a lot of seasonality. So I know right now is my crazy season of busyness, and it's going to kind of go all the way through fall, yet the winter is pretty quiet typically. And so I can kind of see, where am I at? Am I on trend for the tracking? Am I above, below? And what do I need to do to adjust? So in there, it's got their names, the property address, where their source of business came from, which is key, as well as like the next steps and the major steps that I make sure I get them crossed off.
Oh, this is so good. And again, Inspire members, Angie's nice enough to share this with you. The two things. First, 15th protocol. That's where you look and go, hey, if it's the middle of the month and I'm behind on goal, at least now you know, and you can make some changes to your play. But it sounds like you're pretty engaged in what's going on in your business at all times. Have you always been that way?
I started probably right as I came over to KW. I was with another company before this, and I knew I wanted to be this way, but I was never taught. And so having that growth-minded personality that I've always had, and that overachiever, I can't say nerd because that's not bad. But really, I just wanted to be better and do better. And so I think a lot of the basic systems of the MREA is what I grasped, and then just said, how can I do this in my way as a solo agent? I've looked into being a team, and there's not a win-win that I can see. So what works for me is this.
How did what happened to your business once you implemented this content calendar, this marketing calendar, which is really your lead gen playbook, and then this master spreadsheet? What was the impact on your business once you implemented those two things?
Yeah, the first year it doubled, and then it went up from there, I think. So basically, I think I was at about 30 transactions. Then I was at about 60, 70. And like I said, in the peak, it was 124.
There's no way you can run a business as effective as you're running it with all the other stuff you have going on without having simple systems like this in place. So I think it's genius. The next thing you do is you call it a pipeline one-pager. All right, so that is making sure you still got enough leads in the pipeline to hit your goals, right? Your master spreadsheet says, here's where we are, here's where we need to be. So now you ask yourself, do I have enough leads in the pipeline? Tell us about your pipeline one-pager.
So it's nothing fancy. It's not even a spreadsheet. It's literally just a piece of cardstock. So it's durable and it can last me the whole year. And on one side, it's the buyers, and on the other side, it's the sellers. And how I label them as A+ means like they need to find a house immediately, or they are listed or going to list within the next week or two. They're very high priorities. A's are the people who within the next 3 to 6 months, and then B's would be people, if they found the right house, they'd move, or they list their right house or their house if they found the right house. And so it's just a list of names. And obviously, when you're doing DT2 or you're working with people, you know who they are. So I really only have names. And what I do with this is I bring it with me, because once you leave the office and you're out on your appointments or you're out running kids, and a property hits the market, I need to know who's not on auto email, or even if they are, who I need to be sending this to, who do I need to text to make sure that they saw the email. If I have a buyer who might be ready to sell, that I could maybe do a withheld one-time showing. There's just so many ways to stay in front of those people, and it just allows me to take it with me and also keep it on my desk so that they don't get missed.
This is elite. The impact that these simple things have had in your world is quite fascinating. As you said, the first time it doubled, and now you knock on the door of 100 units a year. So what advice would you give to solo agents that feel like they're treading water and doing their best they can to stay on top of what's in front of them right now? Because that was you for a while. So what advice would you give them?
I make a lot of to-do lists and reminders on my phone because when you're on the go, you might have stick notes, but to me, they might get lost. So I write it down as soon as I'm thinking of it. So you might be thinking, oh, I need to follow up with so-and-so. If you are driving and you can't do it at the moment, or you're with clients, just jot down a note, set a reminder to it. So when you are back at the office, get that done. Also, like if you're in the middle of something, do what everyone else has talked about, do a brain dump. All those ideas or all of those minor little things that are popping in your mind so you can stay focused, write it down. And then at the end of the day, I always make sure I put the priorities on my calendar for the next day and do them in order of priorities. And that way you don't stay overwhelmed because you got the most important things done.
This is really good. Okay, I'm a former team leader and I was a MAPS coach for a long time. And so as I listen to you, what comes up in my mind is Angie needs to build a team. And I'm sure you've heard that many times. You don't need to. That's just the default, right? The team leader or the coach is going to go, oh my gosh, you have such opportunity. You need to go build something. But you've made a decision to stay a solo agent. Tell us about that, because I'm sure there has been pressure from others to go build a massively huge team and go dominate your market.
Absolutely. And it's not that I won't ever. It's just every year I do analyze, what is the next step for me? Whether it's doing, being a bowl coach or being a MAPS coach or whatever the paths are. I think no matter what path are in front of you, you have to know who you are, know what your values and priorities are, and whether it's forever or it's a season in your life. So right now, my family is key. It's number one. My faith is key. My time with my community and my clients still fills my cup. So until those three things change and allow more opportunity or different opportunity, it's not that I'm not open to it. I just have to know it's my voice that speaks and not the external voice.
Well, it's the reminder that you get to pick what your business is about and you get to determine whether or not it's successful. And Angie, you're happy. You're happy with the life you have and the business that you're creating. And so this is a good space for you, and it may not be this way forever. But I want to remind people, and especially team leaders and coaches, that you don't have to push people to something they don't want because you think it's the right move for them. Allow them to make those decisions and grow into them. And you've totally done that. Angie, this is great. Again, for everybody watching, she's sharing the systems that she talked about with our Inspire Collective members. So if you're a member, which most of you are, inspire.jamesdshaw.com, just log in and go to the replays and you can download the tools. And if you're not a member, well, you're welcome to join us because you get lots of stuff like this from people in our community. You're a member, Angie, of Inspire, and I appreciate that so much. Why do you choose to be part of stuff like Pivot and the Inspire Collective? What does that do for you?
Two things. Mindset is key. And if you're not paying attention to taking care of your own cup, like I said, filling up your own cup, keeping your mind positive and focused on action, doing the right thing, even getting new ideas and knowing that, hey, that's great, but that's not even for me, but you at least have the idea. And so I think that's the key is mindset. And then also just the consistency piece of it. I think that's the most important thing we've talked about. Consistency is boring. This business can be boring, but the things that are exciting about it is where it can lead you. You don't know what you're going to wake up to in the morning. You might have a day of no appointments and then all of a sudden it fills up. You might get 2 cancellations, but that kind of is exciting to me because I did the consistent things. Now I can be more open to the flexibility.
Angie, you're great. Thank you for sharing your stuff with us. Congratulations on your success. And thanks for helping so many people today be able to become a solo agent who's systematized to accomplish big things. Appreciate you very much.
Thanks, everyone.